Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to King Khalid International Airport, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The local time is 35 minutes past 2 p.m. and the outside temperature is 51 degrees centigrade. For your safety and security, please remain seated until the captain switches off the fasten seatbelt sign. That was an announcement by the air hostess as I landed in Riyadh. Did I hear it correctly? 51 degrees centigrade. I knew the temperature in Riyadh is very high, but 51, unthinkable. I checked my phone, yes, outside temperature is 51 degrees centigrade. This is last month. I actually flew from Delhi to Riyadh for some walk. In Delhi at that time, it was flooded. A lot of rainfalls, all of you are aware. And near where I stay in Yamuna, the water levels, it pitched the record for the last 4 decades. So from flooded Delhi, I landed in boiling Riyadh. So that's what will happen. So July was a time when all the climate records were broken mostly. The temperature in July was 1.5 degree more than the average temperature of the pre-industrial area of the era 1850 to 1900. Not just air temperature, but also even the ocean temperature, ocean surface temperature for the month of July was 0.5 degree more than for the average of the last 30 years, 1990 to 2020. So all the records are broken. And we know that July is not the one-off case. Such kind of climate disorders are definitely going to happen. So the Secretary General of the United Nations mentioned that the era of global warming is over. Welcome to the new era of global boiling. So that's a new term. So global warming to global boiling. Same from the climate change to climate warfare, climate conflict. Let's take the example of Sudan, what's happening. I'm sure many of you are following. Sudan is one of the examples of first instance of climate war. There are the 3 facets of ESG, the environment, society, governance. All these factors were intersected in Sudan. It all started with massive flooding in the Blue Nile on one side of the country, and on the other side of the country there was massive drought. This ensured a lot of displacement of the population throughout the country. And you know, when the population is displaced, a lot of fighting for the available resources. There's fight for the available agricultural land, fight for the resources. So migrations always lead to a lot of this conflict for the resources. So added to the conflict was the rising prices of the agricultural inputs because of the global inflation and also the Russia-Ukraine war has been going on. And added to this was a very big governance on the ground. Now Sudan experimented with democracy some time back. It didn't work out, unfortunately, and currently 2 generals are vying to take control of the country. That's what's happening. In addition to that, you know, there's a lot of elite deals, political bargains that ensures that the wealth of the country are being controlled by a handful of people, unfortunately. So all this put together, it started with the natural calamity. Now, what triggers that affected the individuals, families, society, governments, everything, and all leading to social conflicts that we see. So by now, we know very clearly that you see all this climate change is intricately linked to lives and livelihood. Absolutely linked to lives and livelihood. Let's take the example of humble tomato. All of you are aware. So tomato is a staple food. And it's grown quite abundantly in the country. Now it needs a temperature of 20 to 24 degrees centigrade, some rainfall, water, that's it. It's grown quite well. And during the time of June to July, that's the time when the bumper crop happens. Of course, you have to go throughout the year. But this year, what happened in the month of May is a massive heat wave in many parts of the country. Later on also some rainfall, flooding. So what happened? The climate actually played havoc against this humble crop. So we know the result. Prices generally 5, 10, 20 rupees happened. It went up 50, 100, 200, 300, I don't know where it ended. So that's happened with tomato. The biggest impact of the climate change, what I can do. Also mentioned about Riyadh, the 51 degrees centigrade period. Now, you know, in Saudi, a lot of construction activities happen. And many of these things have been done by people from this subcontinent. I've seen people from Afghanistan, Pakistan, some parts of India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Philippines. A lot of people work over there. And you know, from Saudi, a lot of remittances, a lot of money come to these villages, families. So many individuals, many families survive from the money from Saudi. Now, because of this severe temperature, the government there banned any kind of outdoor activity during the daytime. From 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., no activity outside. So what that led to a lot of loss of jobs, loss of environment, So maybe some village in Nepal which survives on income from Saudi, they are not getting the income. You see, everything is globally absolutely interconnected. So what's happening in Riyadh is also impacting some villages in Nepal, Bangladesh, maybe in some parts of India also. So that's what's happening. So by now, we are abundantly clear that this greenhouse gas emission, this rising temperature leading to melting of the glaciers and rising sea level, everything are all interconnected. And this leading to a lot of displacement of people across countries, across the world also, plunging them into poverty, into hunger, and actually depriving them of the basic healthcare, education, all these things. So we see a lot of social disparities happening. There's a reduction in economic growth, and unfortunately, a lot of these potential conflicts arising because of these climate changes. Unfortunately, the world is burning today. We have seen, I think all of us, if you think of the last few generations, significant amount of progress has happened. I'm sure for all of us. Last century, significant progress in terms of science, development, technology, last century, massive. But despite those things, today the world is unfortunately burning. The COVID-19 was a stark example. It showed that there cannot be healthy people in the earth when the planet itself is unhealthy. Now, after the lockdown things were in control. After lockdown, again in 2021, the CO2 emissions have gone up by 6%. Initially, a lot of focus was there on the renewables. Right now, again, the fossil fuels are back with ban. You know the G20 countries, G20 is going to happen with ban. G20 countries last year, they spent $1 trillion plus in terms of subsidy for these fossil fuels. Germany, they earlier mentioned 2045 will be their net zero target. They recently postponed. They cannot actually net zero by 2045. That's what's happening right now. You see Amazon rainforest, first depleting, 17% of the rainforest gone already, vanished. The wildfires that's happening in Canada, that's impacting the city life in New York. We are seeing all these videos in Himachal and Uttarakhand, severe. A lot of landslides, a lot of flooding that's happening. We have seen the massive heat waves in the Western countries recently. Our neighboring state, Pakistan, last year, massive flooding. It's all quite rampant. If you see on the social context also, we have seen Black Lives Matter, we have seen recently the protests and the riots in France and Paris. Today, misinformation, fake news, hate crimes are all rampant. Even this Arab Spring, the pro-democratic movements, those echoes still reverberates right now in the Middle East and Northern Africa. So all this situation, I think, looking at these things, I think definitely we are not in a very good shape. That's why I was just saying, we are actually burning, But bingo, don't be so sad. There's good news in the sense that, you see, there is a lot of positivity. Because you see, unlike COVID-19, where we are just waiting for the scientists to discover the vaccine, but here we know the problem, we know the symptoms, we know the solutions also. The problem is all about greed. Problem is all about more profit, more growth, more shareholders, like that. So we have to end somewhere. And we have all the tools, all the resources how to address these challenges. We need some kind of action, we need some sense of urgency. That's what we need. Now, you see, when we are addressing these challenges of such a large scale, like this climate change, now the solution is also huge. For instance, India's net zero target opportunity itself is a $15 trillion opportunity. And I believe many of your people's lives and careers will also depend on India's net zero target, this creating a very sustainable and just economy. So, a huge potential opportunity as well. So, what we need to do is a sense of strong purpose that yes, we need to create a just and sustainable society for us. Some amount of business acumen is also required. And of course, we have to be mindful of profit because it's not philanthropy, but we need to work also mindful. I think balancing all these things will definitely take us to the land of Nirvana. Now, let me highlight the point of the Dharma, the principles of Dharma, which I definitely want to invoke in this climate change. In Mahabharata, Dharma is a central concept that refers to the principles of righteousness, ethics, and moral principles. Dharma in Mahabharata plays a very important role based on which the actions by the individuals, they ensure that we maintain the social justice, harmony, and peace. Dharma is not static. It's not a single concept. It's a dynamic concept. It's a very multifaceted. Dharma depends on the situation, dharma depends on the context, dharma depends on the individuals, time, place, things can change. Now in Mahabharata they have not given the principles of dharma like that, but they have shown dharma through the actions of various characters and actors, how they have acted. In Mahabharata, I'm sure many of you know that the characters they go through a lot of moral dilemmas, they go through significant amount of moral conflicts, and dharma is the path through which they could find the right direction. In Mahabharata, it has been explained with a lot of details that the characters they navigate through a lot of challenges. They're torn apart because of different dilemmas that they face, and dharma is all over the direction. Let me take a couple of examples of dharma. Arjuna's dharma, he's a fighter, he's a warrior. But he was torn apart. There's a lot of moral conflict that whether he should go to the battlefield and fight vis-a-vis his compassion for his teachers, for his friends, for his cousin brothers, for his family members. So that was the conflict. He was in such a situation that he was reluctant to go to the fight and he was set aback. But finally Arjuna understood, realized that his Kshatriya dharma wants him to fulfill the duties, to uphold the principles of righteousness and do the right duty. He has to go to the battlefield to fight for his right cause. So he has to be there in the battlefield for the righteousness that he brings. On the other side, Karna, let's take the example. Karna is well known for his sense of duty and loyalty. Now, Karna, despite knowing the fact that he will be fighting against his brothers, despite knowing the fact of his own family lineage, he has allied with his friend Duryodhana. Now, it's Karna's unwavering commitment to friendship, his unwavering commitment to his sense of duty and loyalty to his friend. That's the characteristic of his dharma. So in this battle for climate change, we need to invoke some of the principles of dharma. It's not very complex, but let me highlight a few of the things. Now, dharma ensures that there has to be harmony with whatever we do with nature. It's not very difficult because the entire planetary system, the entire universe works in a perfect harmony. Like humans cannot be in harmony with the nature. It's as simple as that. Dharma emphasizes the fact that the humans are interconnected with each other, and it's a duty and the responsibility of humans to protect the environment. Now, understanding the requirement that it's a duty and the responsibility of humans to protect the nature and the ecosystem, that's a fundamental concept of environmental ethics. Now, dharma also ensures that whatever action we take is not for the present human beings, but also for the future generation as well. You see, one basic concept that dharma also emphasizes, it's whatever we're doing right now, it's not just by us, it's also by a lot of work done by the previous generations, a lot of sacrifices by them also. So we need to be very cognizant of the fact that we have a lot in terms of responsibility to the future generation as well. So our today's actions need to be also protecting the future generation as well. Dharma upholds the principles of social justice and equity. In climate change, we know that the vulnerable population, they face disproportionate amount of challenges. So it's also a duty of us to protect this vulnerable community. And finally, dharma also highlights that the individuals are interconnected with society. Hence, a collective responsibility is very important. It's not just me or the we, but we need to work together along with the individuals, business, society, and the larger people. So, having said some of these principles of dharma, I do expect the youth to take some action in terms of the climate change. Why the youth? Because, see, the climate change is such a big issue. It's like nothing short of a revolution. And like any other revolution, it's being fought by the youth in the front. Few reasons. One, sense of purpose. I think a strong sense of purpose is required for this climate change. And by saying about this sense of purpose, you remember the Great Resignation of 2021? It's all about during COVID times what happened. A lot of young people, they took up the job. They enrolled in the job, they got the job. But as they unlocked after the lockdown, when they started doing the job, they realized that this job is not aligning with their values. This is not aligning with their purpose, what they wanted to do. Maybe the business they are into, it's not the life. The entrepreneurs with whom they are working, it's not aligning with their value system. No thinking again, they just took back and resigned. And that's a phenomenon that happened all across the globe, not just in India. Young people are valuing so much the purpose. That's all about the Great Resignation 2021. And for this climate change, we need that strong sense of purpose, a strong sense of value, what really matters for us to address this climate change. Number two reason is that collaboration. Climate change needs strong, solid forging of alliances. You see, generally what happens whenever we face any problem, we just go back to the government. We rely on the government. But problem is such a huge scale, government hardly can do much. And it needs solid amount of collaboration. And again, the young people, they have an innate understanding of this supporting relationships. If I take a brief example of Web3 that's coming up right now. So much alliances with the creators, composers, directors, so many wide range of alliances and the collaborations that you can see across ecosystems. And this is a time where I think this forging this huge, complex, global collaboration across multiple stakeholders remains the key for to address this large issues of the climate change. Finally, it's all about the technology. The young people there, you're all born digital, you understand technology like anything. So today's challenge cannot be just solved with just planting trees. So technology has to be leveraged to address these current challenges. And these young people, they understand technology today is GenAI, yesterday something, tomorrow something new will come up. So they need to pick up this technology and leverage technology to address these major issues. So having said all these things, still I believe we find ourselves in the brink of a major potential systems collapse the way things are happening, unfortunately. In the absence of a strong multilateralism across the globe, we see very short-term views by the politics, business. In business, we see again the focus remains on the quarterly results, shareholder wealth maximization. With all these problems, I think it's time for the young people as well as all of us to step up and take action in initiatives. What needs to be done is all about alliances. We need to connect along with the stakeholders, individuals, business, communities, governments, civil society, whatnot. That's important. And the success lies in 4 key pillars. One, we need to think long-termism. Second, strong sense of purpose, a value system that yes, we need to create a just and sustainable society. That's important. Third, we need to go back to the history of civilization. And finally, we need to leverage the principles of Dharma that I mentioned in Pave. Thank you so much.